With inclusion body myositis, every time you find it difficult to stand up from a seated position, it's a grim reminder of the negative direction this disease has charted for you. Hi, it's Jerry, here again addressing all my fellow IBMers. Thank you for tuning in to this episode and all my IB Myositis channel videos. This episode will discuss one of my props that I've successfully used along my 12-year battle with IBM. Standing up from a seated position is a serious problem for IBMers in the second and third stages of IBM. If you have questions about how I refer to IBM stages, watch my IB Myositis video episodes 5 and 6. You know, purchasing a lift chair does not have to be your first step in conquering the problem of standing up from your living room recliner. But this should be the time that you start actively researching a lift chair because it is probably in your future. Let me explain a timeline list for this standing up problem for us IBMers. Step number 1, use your current recliner until you start having to use your arms to push yourself up. You will realize when that time comes. Step number 2, some IBMers, when realizing the difficulty of standing up from a seated position, may first purchase handy aids such as a lift bar assist or maybe an easy up seat assist. Unfortunately, these props are only very short-term solutions, but may be valuable during this particular time in your IBM journey and give you a few extra months for lift chair shopping and researching. My third step, have a riser constructed and place your current recliner on it. To have someone make a riser for you, you'll have to provide them with the width and depth of your chair's base that you are interested in purchasing at a later date. You may have to call the lift chair provider or take your tape measure to the lift store, then add an extra inch or two in both directions. My riser platform design started with a frame made from standard 2x4 inch material, gluing and screwing it together. After cutting a top surface of 3/4 inch material to match the size of the 2x4 inch base, it was secured to the frame with screws. I trimmed out the riser with 3/4 inch cherry hardwood before staining and applying a poly finish to it. Your builder may have alternatives to suggest for materials and finishes to be used. Once your riser is completed, tip your recliner on its back or front and position the chair's floor base on the center of the riser. Mark for holes to be drilled that will accept U-bolts, washers, and nuts that when tightened will firmly secure the recliner to the base. Caution, never use a recliner or lift chair that is not tightly secured to the riser. Also at this time, continue your research of lift chairs and saving your money for the purchase of one. Let's talk about lift chairs. First of all, there's a lot of discussion regarding which is the best lift geometry design for IBMers. A radial tilt lift, one that tilts you forward, or a vertical lift, one that raises you in a straight up direction. The vertical design may be good for first and second stage IBMers that still have the capability to sit up and slide themselves forward on the chair to get up. Whereas in later stage IBMers, when mid-body skeletal muscles may have diminished to a point where leaning forward from the backrest of the chair and moving to the front of the chair is difficult, the radial tilt design may work better. Because of your unknown future, perhaps a lift chair like some of those produced by Golden Technologies that can be converted between a radial or vertical lift might be the best long-term investment for IBMers. But unfortunately, these convertible lift chairs are more expensive than single geometry designs. Other lift chair recliner features to consider. Some IBMers may intend to occasionally use their lift chair as their bed. Make sure to research the chair's ability to infinitely position you with a favorable support to get a good night's rest. Some manufacturers also offer zero gravity models. These features offer you the ability to minimize the toll that gravity takes on your body every day. Lift chair recliners are available according to your height and weight and are usually categorized by short, medium, large, and tall selections. Choose the size chair recommended for you. Consider your height and make sure the leg rest is long enough to support the length of your legs if you intend to spend long periods of time in it. An extended footrest option is available on many lift chair recliners. Heat and massage option. As an IBMer's muscle mass disappears, many people feel colder. A lift chair heat option may be just the ticket for remedying that problem. Also, if you plan on locating the lift chair recliner near a wall or in a small room, you might select a wall hugger model to help conserve space. Upholstery options include faux leather, vinyl, or fabric. Upholstery and colors are a personal choice, but consideration should include which upholstery type might allow you to more easily move in your chair. Faux leather or vinyl might be easier to slide around on, where fabric or suede might try to grip your clothing more. Your choice. This is where all your research has to come together. Unfortunately, not all options are available on every manufacturer's models, so your decision may have to include some give and take. Step 4. You've completed your lift chair research and you've purchased one. Try it on the floor without the riser. Depending on your height, it may lift you up high enough to allow you to get to a standing position. But guess what? You've purchased a nice, comfortable lift chair, and in a couple years you begin to have difficulty standing up from a seated position again, which moves us on to step number 5. When needed, mount the lift chair on the riser I mentioned in step 3. I still own a radial lift chair and have overcome the difficulties of making a transfer to my power chair by placing the lift chair up on the 4-inch riser I described earlier in this video. Step 6. If you are tall like me, you will probably reach a point in your IBM journey where getting out of the chair, even with a 4-inch riser, will again become difficult. 2 years ago, I added an additional 1.5 inches under the front and back of the riser. Step 7. Recently, I had to add 2 more 1.5 inch thick pieces. My chair sits 7.25 inches above the floor, greatly helping my weakened knees and legs to get to a locked up position when making a transfer to my power chair. That's about the maximum height I can raise my lift chair and still be able to get seated on it. There will come a time when standing up at all will not be possible for me, and more drastic, more expensive measures might have to be considered. I recommend to my IBM friends to start shopping early for a lift chair. Don't wait too long before you go shopping for a lift chair. After all, waiting until you no longer can get out of a standard recliner chair may be waiting a bit too long to be able to try out the chair in a showroom for comfort, function, and making the decision whether to invest in a chair that can be converted from radial to vertical lift geometry. If you already own a lift chair and are again experiencing problems getting to a standing position, you might consider a riser that I've mentioned in this video as a means to take your chair to a new level that will make standing up from it a lot easier as your IBM progresses. Your IBM future will probably need a lift chair to enhance your attempt at keeping mobile. If you appreciate this type of information, please hit the like button on this YouTube screen and share this video with your family, friends, and local woodworkers. Stay well, my friends, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so. Good day.